Hello, Soberinos, and welcome to this week's Friday Fix. Today, I want to give you a little word of caution. And the word of caution is around assuming that when you're listening to or reading about or sharing other people's experiences of stopping drinking and living their lives sober, is assuming that your experience is going to be the same as theirs. Now, it's a really, really good thing to arm yourself with as much information, knowledge, tools, tips, techniques as you possibly can when you first start thinking about stopping drinking and when you do stop drinking and you're learning to live your life sober. The more people who have been through a similar experience to you that you can connect with and learn from, the better. Because it's that sense of connection and community that helps you stay strong. It's knowing that you're not alone, that this is a common experience, that other people have been through similar things. It's all of that that helps to give you strength and helps to keep you resilient and strong and on track. So it is really, really important that you learn from other people's experiences, that you read lots of blogs, that you read books, that you look online and you watch people's videos, and that you do as much of that sharing and connecting as possible. But the word of caution is that we can sometimes, in fact, often we do this, we can often read about other people's experiences, learn about other people's experiences of stopping drinking, living their lives sober, and we can assume that our experience is going to be similar. So we can hear people using phrases like pink cloud experience. If you haven't already come across that phrase or that description of a pink cloud experience, you can do a quick search online. You'll find out all about it. You can hear people describing and referring to this pink cloud experience. You can hear people referring to having to struggle every day. You often hear the phrase about never get complacent. You often hear people using, I've made a list here, let me just check my list. Yeah, every day is a struggle, never get complacent, having to be constantly vigilant. You can hear people describing insomnia when they stop drinking, weight gain when they stop drinking. You can hear lots of people having lots of experiences that will be shared by some other people too. And the danger is that when we read and hear about these experiences, we can kind of assume that that is the way it goes. That we kind of generalize that one person's experience. We kind of generalize that in our minds to include to encompass the whole getting sober experience. So if there is this pink cloud phenomenon, then if we happen to be feeling good and energized and liberated when we first stop drinking, then watch out, because it's a pink cloud experience and it's going to come to an end. What I mean is that if we're assuming that our experience is going to be the same as someone else's, we're going to set up an expectation for ourselves. And in setting up that expectation and that belief about what our experience is going to be like, then we're going to make it happen. That's going to become our reality. And the point I want to really make to you today is that some of those beliefs about living our lives sober will be useful to us, and some of them won't be. And you can actually choose what beliefs you take on and what beliefs you discard. And it's really important to remember that, because I think the reality is, the best way to describe it is if you can imagine a line. Imagine a line on a piece of paper, a horizontal line. And that horizontal line represents a kind of neutral state, neither good, neither bad, just a kind of neutral state, a kind of living your life absolutely fine, surviving, but not exactly thriving, and it's not exactly negative. It's not positive, it's not negative, it's not good, it's not bad. You're just going along on an even keel, and it's reasonably neutral. If you imagine, so I'm imagining this horizontal line, and if you imagine that at this point on the line here, so here's the line, this is the point I'm putting a marker on the line. This marker on the line represents when I stopped drinking. Let's imagine that when I stopped drinking, my experience of living went up. It started to become really positive. So instead of carrying along on this sort of neutral, in fact, before I stopped drinking, it would have been down, wouldn't have been neutral at all. But let's imagine I go from neutral to suddenly thriving, to feeling energized, motivated, excited, really pumped up, really enthusiastic about living my life sober. Let's imagine that instead of neutral, my experience is becoming really positive and I feel great. Then let's imagine that, I don't know, a few months later, I sort of come back down to neutral again. Then maybe I dip below neutral, and maybe I go through a few months of actually feeling low, depressed, anxious, eating lots of chocolate, sugar, gaining some weight maybe. Then I start to come up to neutral again. Then I go up above the line again. And then I stay above that line for a little while. Then I drop back down below the line again, and the experience becomes more hard work again. Let's imagine that from the point at which we stop drinking, there's this neutral line, and sometimes we're above it and sometimes we're below it. And some people will find that the point at which they stop drinking, they go below that line. They dip. They start to feel anxious. They start to feel exhausted. They experience insomnia. They experience weight gain. They experience higher levels of anxiety and depression, or maybe pain, physical pain, if they have a medical condition or something like that alcohol used to alleviate the symptoms of. So let's imagine that for some people, when they stop drinking, they're going to drop below that line. And for some people, when they stop drinking, they're going to shoot up above that line. And for some people, they're just going to sort of be neutral for a while. Maybe they're going to dip down a little bit. Maybe they're going to go up a little bit. Maybe it's going to be a sort of gradual sort of dipping and curving. The point I'm making is that every single one of us is going to have a different experience. So for some of us, it's going to go zoop and then down, and then zoop and then down. And then for others, it's going to be dip down a little bit, neutral again, neutral, dip down a little bit, back up again, neutral, maybe dip up a little bit, and then dip down again, and then up again, and then gradually they start to go up and up and up. And for some people, it's going to be neutral, 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 up and down, neutral, 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 up and down. You get the point. That line can look completely different for completely different people. And the danger of reading and hearing about other people's experiences and assuming that this pink cloud, I'm just using that pink cloud as one example. It could be anything. It could be any experience that anybody has. But taking the pink cloud as one example, the danger is that in reading about other people experiencing that, we can then assume that that's going to be our experience. And so we can set up that expectation that things are going to be great, and then we're suddenly going to drop. When the reality is, it might not be that way for us at all. The best piece of advice I can give you about what to expect when you stop drinking is to just get really curious about your own journey. By all means, definitely read about other people's experiences, because that's really important to have that awareness and to surround yourself with that knowledge and to surround yourself with a sense of community, that you're in it with other people, that you're in it together. And it's really, really important from that perspective. And while you're doing that, make sure that you're not assuming that your experience is going to be the same as other people's, because it could be completely different. And it could be more positive than other people's. It could be more negative than other people's, or it could simply be different to other people's. And it's really important to remember that. So the best piece of advice to give you is, if you can adopt a state of curiosity about what it will be like for you. Yes, it's like that for somebody else. Yes, it's like that for somebody else again. You don't yet know what it's going to be like for you. So a state of curiosity is a really healthy, positive state to be in when you approach living your life sober, and to have no expectations about whether you're going to go up or down, or combination of the two, or how long it's going to last. Just to have no expectations at all, but just to be curious. And as well as that, if you can arm yourself with some really healthy, positive beliefs about what living your life sober is going to be like, really positive, healthy, productive, helpful beliefs about what living your life sober is going to be like, at the same time as getting curious about what it's going to be like. So you kind of have in the background of your mind, you kind of have some ideas. You've painted a really positive picture of what your life sober is going to be, at the same time as being curious and having no expectations about how the early days are going to go. You're just going to, see what comes and look after yourself, and look after yourself in the best, the most healthy, the most nurturing, the most loving way you can as you go through those early days. If you can do those two things, nurture yourself in the best way you can, get curious about what the experience is going to be like for you, learn what it's been like for other people, but don't assume yours is going to be the same, and build some really positive, helpful beliefs about what living life sober is going to be like. What I'll do is I'll pop a link in the comments below to a couple of blogs that I've written that talk in a little bit more detail about the importance of creating helpful and healthy beliefs about living your life sober, because it's really important that we create beliefs that are useful and helpful to us, because we'll create reality out of our beliefs. So whatever we're believing about living our lives sober, we will create reality out of those beliefs. So if we believe it's going to be a struggle, if we believe it's going to be hard work, if we believe that we can never get complacent, we've always got to be vigilant, and this is going to be something that's kind of ruling our lives forever, then that is the reality that we'll create. If, on the other hand, we're believing that living life alcohol-free is going to give us freedom, if we believe that we are going to be living our best lives without alcohol, if we believe that we're making a really healthy lifestyle choice and we're going to live our lives confidently and free as a result of ditching alcohol, if we believe that we are going to become the best version of ourselves, if we believe that it's going to, after an initial period of work, if we believe that living our lives sober is going to be easy, that we're going to get to the point that we no longer think about drinking, we no longer have a desire to drink, it's no longer an issue, we no longer have an unhealthy relationship with alcohol, we now have a perfectly healthy relationship with alcohol, we just don't go near it, we just don't drink it. It's as simple as that. It's not a thought process, it's not something we have to do battle with, it's simply not on the menu. It's not something that we consider. If we believe all of those things about living our lives sober, then that's the reality we're going to create. So what beliefs you choose to hold on to about living your life sober are likely to become the reality you will create for yourself. So that's the reason that I'm saying, not only do you need to arm yourself with knowledge that you gain from other people, to not make assumptions that what other people are going through is going to be the same as what you're going to go through. What was the other thing? To nurture the most useful and healthy beliefs you can about living your life sober. That was it. And to retain a state of curiosity. Get yourself into a state of curiosity about what your own experience is going to be like. And always remember that the early days of living your life sober, that first sort of few weeks, is going to be different. As you develop into the first few months, it's going to be different again. And after your first year or so of living your life sober, it's going to be different again. And as you progress along that timeline, you're going to become more and more confident. It's going to become easier and easier and easier, providing you've nurtured the right belief system, provided you're using or developing the right mindset and the right approach to living your life sober. So get curious about your experience. Take on board and learn from what other people are saying at the same time as not taking on their labels, not taking on their experiences, and not assuming that your experience is going to be the same. Only take on what's going to be useful and healthy for you. I feel like that was a bit rambly because I hadn't prepared for today. This was a little bit off the cuff. But if you've got any questions about any of that, do post them in the comments below. If anything I've said resonates with you and makes sense to you, let me know in the comments below. I will try and remember to post a couple of links to a couple of blogs you might find useful in the comments below when I post this. And yeah, that's it for today, Soberinos. So I will look forward to catching up with you in tomorrow's Saturday share. But in the meantime, let's go get sober together. Bye.